Hey everybody, welcome to InnRoads Plays. We are starting a whole new season with a whole new group of people. Well, except for me and Mike, but
Yeah, you're used to us by now.
yeah, you got to get used to it, right? So we are going to start off, as the display says, Victoriana. We're going to start off a new campaign here, and we thought we would take some time with you folks and walk through character creation. So we're going to go through it the way the book has it listed, but there are a couple options here. So anybody who's played Victoriana or listened to the introduction video that I put out, you'll be able to know that there's the two ways is one, going through it step by step, kind of in a backwards fashion, and we'll talk about that in a second, or you can go with a build point purchase, where you're basically, it's a free build. You can take all the points that you have and start purchasing the elements of your character and start building his legend, his or her legend. So let's start off by making introductions to everybody. I'm taking a look at the display, so I'm going to go left to right, and I'm going to start going up from me. And we'll start with Mr. Nate. Throw a hello out there, man.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Nate Davis. I am from San Diego, and I attend East Lake Church. A couple things I like, in my job, I'm a programmer, so, start off right there. I just love coding. The things I'm really passionate about are Star Wars. Man, I live, breathe, and, sleep Star Wars. Can't wait for December. That's just, oh man, I'm counting down the days. I'm so excited that they, announced the whole expansion to Disneyland. And
oh my gosh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got me thinking about that now. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and so that's the big thing. But I'm also an avid gamer. Love video games though. I've never actually played a tabletop, so this will be my first time. I'm really excited.
Bring them in.
Yeah. I've been watching. Yeah, I've been watching online. Like Penny Arcade. They do their tabletop stuff, and so I'm just that
Which is happening literally right now as we record.
Right. Yeah,
that's right. PAX is going.
Yeah, so I've seen it, and I've always wanted to get involved, so I'm excited to be here and to take part in this campaign. Yeah, and so that's a little bit about me.
Cool. Well, welcome aboard, Nate. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
So we are going to go next to the fine gentleman in the top hat, Mr. Brent. throw a hello out there, sir.
Hello. Yes, my name is Brent. I am from the balmy state of Boise, Idaho. This will be my first campaign with InnRoads. I'm very excited. And also my first time playing Victoriana.
Wait.
Well, okay.
Let's be a little more specific on that, sir.
I had been in the play-by-post campaign for almost 2 years, if that counts.
That definitely counts.
I would
That
say
counts.
Yeah.
Which has been fantastic also. So, and that led into an invitation for this, for which I'm very grateful. And yes, this will be my first time playing Victoriana. I've played quite a bit of tabletop role-playing games. Started way back in the day with AD&D and 2nd edition, and then went over to Pathfinder. Played that a bunch. Have played pretty much a metric ton or galactic ton of Fantasy Flight's Star Wars RPG, which is something that Nate might be interested in. So now that I've heard of his love of things Star Wars,
Indeed, yes.
have to talk to you later.
Yeah.
And played a bunch of kind of smaller games too. So very much looking forward to this. Other hobbies, I enjoy board games quite a lot. Play those a lot, mostly with my family and also with a friend at at his church. He hosts a monthly game night. And by profession, I'm also a programmer.
All right.
So, yeah. So you've got
I
Representing.
see a pattern.
Resources. All I hear is resources. That's all I hear.
probably,
Of course you do.
probably detail-oriented OCD players is what you should be seeing. Right there.
Yes. Well, we've picked the realm in which to enjoy it.
Yeah, so just very excited to play this game and to meet y'all.
We're glad to have you, man. All right, so moving over this way, we'll go over next to Miss Heather. How you doing today, or tonight, I guess? Late night for you.
Yes, late night for me. I'm Heather Johnson. Let's see. In between Baltimore and Annapolis and Maryland, so East Coast. And I came to RPGs as an adult. I've only been playing the last handful of years.
Wrote an awesome article for the InnRoads site about becoming a DM.
Yes, yeah, I did that. I generally play with either my son, who's now 13, and a bunch of his friends or our joint friends. I play D&D. I learned it 4th edition. I've played 5th. I've played 3.5. I play Pathfinder on a Roll20 game, actually regularly. Dabbled in Numenera. This is the first game of Victoriana that I have tried to play, and it looks fantastic so far. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
I am the Game Store Profits #1 fan.
#1 fan.
Right.
Yes, she
If you
is.
weren't going to say it, I was going to say it. So
Had
I was about to say, I was
Yeah.
waiting. I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was going to see if you needed to have me say that. I'll verify that. She is
The whole
#1 fan.
3-hour drive to New Jersey to play games with people
Mhm.
kind of
It was fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
too.
a lot of fun. I really wanted to meet everybody.
That's right.
So that's me, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to know everybody else and working our way through this fascinating setting for this game.
Definitely. Well, thanks. We're glad to have you. All right. Moving next over, we have Alyssa.
All
How
right.
you doing?
I'm surviving. I'm Alyssa. I am probably the youngest person in this group as by far.
Wow. Thanks. Okay, that's just great.
Now I'm
All us old folks.
I'm 21. I met Perna through
Ages ago. God.
yes through youth group when I was a wee one.
Then.
I was a wee one. I had a terrible bowl cut.
Yeah,
And,
you did.
I did.
You did.
Thank you for admitting that.
No, you did. It's just the way of it. You've moved past this. You've grown. It's wonderful.
I have. But yeah, I also don't really have a lot of experience with tabletop games. Like I've played quite a few. I'm in a Numenera game that
She suffers through my games, is what she's saying.
Oh my gosh.
now
She has literally been a player in my D&D game, in a Victoriana game, and currently in Numenera game. She suffers through me.
other than the Numenera game, they never really lasted very long.
No,
Most
we're
of the
hoping
times.
the Numenera game sticks with it. That these people are actually kind of excited to play.
Very cool. Very cool.
And yeah, I write as a hobby, and character creation is probably one of my favorite things. So I'm always down to play a tabletop and really dig into a character. So
Cool. You're on the
It's
right
gonna be fun.
podcast. That's
Very
our right webcast right now. That's cool.
webcast, podcast,
Whatever. You see our faces. It's a webcast, and then wait. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine.
We're fine. All right. Last but not least, Mr. Perna, Mr. President, El Jefe. How's it going, man?
Hello. It's going very well. For those of you who might just be stumbling onto this, I am Mike Perna. I am the president of InnRoads Ministries. I have been gaming for a long, long time. I started playing role-playing games when I was 16. I got heavy into strategy board gaming probably around the time I was 21, 22. And it's been a long time since then. So, yeah, I have run Victoriana before, though the last time I ran it, it was 2nd edition. I'm actually super excited to play 3rd edition because I've heard that it did a lot of streamlining to
Yes.
take away some of the wonkiness from 2nd edition. So I'm excited to see what this one has.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that leaves me. My name is Jeff Rummel. I think I said it at the onset. But for my cred, and this is Alyssa, take off your headphones or mute, whatever. I don't want you to hear this.
No, I will listen.
I've been into role-playing games for about 26 years, so
Yeah.
longer than you've been alive. Dang, man, I'm gonna go get my walker and go home. I'm out of here. So
We already broke the GM.
yeah, my heart's broken. I'm just caving in. I don't even remember where I'm at. Okay, so yeah, I started off with Shadowrun First Edition, and it seems I'm actually back to where I started. I'm with my original group right now that I started gaming with. We're doing a Roll20 game of Shadowrun First Edition, but Yeah, one of the other podcasts that's out there, some of you guys may know of, is called Gamers Table. They dubbed Victoriana, or at least they heard Victoriana dubbed as Steampunk Shadowrun, and that was all I needed to hear to play this game.
I, I need to talk to them again because yeah, I am now with you saying that makes two of us who got into this game because of Gamers Table.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Because
have known about it.
their actual play is the reason I picked up the second edition book.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally agree. I was gonna buy it, and then I heard that I heard they were coming out with third edition in a few months, so I waited and then forgot about it. But then you actually, Mike, you let me know about a humble bundle that issued out
I am an
several
enabler.
books, and you enabled it. But it worked. I got like bunches of books for like $30 or something ridiculous like that.
Those humble bundles are the deal, man.
Oh
They really
yeah.
are.
If you guys don't know what it is, Google Humble Bundle and you'll find all about it. I'm not going to bore you with it right now.
It's awesome.
So
Do it. Peer pressure.
peer pressure. Go and buy books. Buy books. So we're playing in a realm called Victoriana, or a game called Victoriana, and it's set in 1856, and it's centered in London. But it's a London that's different than what most people know about. It's a mixture of magic. So magic is alive in the world. It's waning, it's waxing. Nobody knows, well, except for the cultists who are trying to whip it up. But there's also steam. So anybody familiar with steampunk kind of knows what I'm talking about. If you aren't familiar with it, a very brief thing is that it's basically anything that has wheels and cogs and is powered by steam, that's steampunk. And that can be anything from a prosthetic arm to a locomotive to a strange looking motorcycle. You never know.
If you've listened to our podcast, you've heard us talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And
Our fascination with board games, the steampunk board games.
two of our friends, T. Morris and Philippa Ballantyne, actually have been on the podcast before a couple different times, and you never know. We might end up sometime doing an InnRoads plays about the game set in their steampunk universe as well.
I would like that. And I would play that. I would play that.
There's lots of stuff around here. If you listen to us with any kind of regularity, you've heard about steampunk before.
Oh yeah. So it's a broad world here. Everything is it's influenced by the historical times. So if you wanted to know what was going on in 1856, almost said 56, you can go straight out to Wikipedia. Shut up, everybody. Shut up. You can go straight to Wikipedia and you can look up what's going on as of the year 1856. And a lot of those events are going on here. But what's great that what these writers have done is they've said, okay, if we had all this steam technology and we had all of this ability with magic, that sort of thing, what could happen? How would it alter things? You know, one of the things that's going to come up in our campaign is the Crimean War. It's not what happened just a year or two ago with Russia. It actually happened before that, back in 1856. That was when it first happened. It shows the influences there. So the authors have really taken a painstaking approach to history, and they've not ruined history. They've made it better with this, which is really a really interesting scope.
And one thing that's going to be fun is that it is a very, while there will be changes, obviously there is a very Victorian mindset here. Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact that our characters here, I don't know if any of us went lower class, but I do know we have some upper class people and some middle class people, and there will be tension there because they don't interact very well.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, it's and again, if you guys haven't listened to it, I definitely want you guys to listen to the other recording that I've made in regards to just kind of a preliminary warning about some of the themes and the nature of the game. If you haven't listened to it, hit pause right now, head over there, listen to that video real quick. It's probably like only got 5 or 10 minutes if I remember correctly. And just make sure you understand where we're coming from with this game. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a great time. We're not here to make evil things happen. We're just here to have fun. But some of the themes and the information that comes out through this game can, be a little bit dark. So we'll leave it at that. Again, listen to the video, then jump back here, and we'll go to crazy here. So let's go too crazy, shall we? Come with me. Come on.
Woo!
So we are going to go into character creation. What I wanted to do was follow the instructions in the book, like I mentioned before, as far as how they want you to do it. And they have a really great discussion here on, or a dissertation on how they want things to kind of play out, or what they kind of geared it to do. And you can see that in the adventure step, creation steps that I believe should be on screen right now. And what you're doing is you're basically going to start with what your adventure is expected to do during the course of their adventures. So like if you know kind of like a theme that you want to go with for your game, or you have a tone that you want to go with, and that's something that we've discussed a little bit online before we came to this point. If you know the kind of tone that you're going for, then you know the kind of hero that you may be going for, or adventurer as they term it. So you can say, okay, this is where my character is right now as of the game starting. And then in that manner, what you can do is your creation can be pretty quick and easy, where you're crafting all of the defined details that went into bringing your character to that place. So the way they have it listed out here, and I'll just run down the list super quick. It has association, so the people that you group with, the clubs that you're part of, or a club that you're part of, or a society that you're part of. Your background, which includes a vocation or a childhood experience. Your breeding. Now, this comes into play, as Mike had mentioned, in Victorian times, you have a lot that deals with social class. And that can mean everything with how you approach life, as to how you were raised and the social area, social mores that you're involved with. So that's going to be part of it. And then another part is what's called subspecies. And we'll get into that in a moment, because you can be anything from an elf, or what they call an eldrin. You can be a bearman, like our friend Dove pulls in here.
I'm a very dapper bearman.
That's right. But they have gnomes, they have what's called Huldu folk, or basically halflings, or we can't say the other word that belongs to Tolkien. So you're one of
Copyright
those.
infringement.
Copyright infringement, careful. So you can be one of those. There's gnomes, which are probably my favorite race, dwarves, ogres, orcs, and a lot of the connotations that go along with those types of species in other genres have certain connotations towards evil or good or whatever. In this game, however, it's not like that. It's really interesting. You can have a noble ogre, helping you out with a gigantic wrench, or, whatever. You can have a dastardly evil dwarf or gnome or whatever. So all those things that you think about before in fantasy role-playing, fill them out, because those preconceptions don't matter here. So next up, so after breeding, you take a look at a build package, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. Then you go into some of the more traditional parts of gaming, like attributes, like your strength and your presence, or what you would think of as charisma, that sort of thing. Skill points, so what you're good at, and then additional build points to kind of round out your character. So I have talked enough. I'm really tired. I want to sleep because I'm old. And I think what we'll do is we're going to go with association first. So like I said, the rest of the guys here, the guys and gals, they went through and they did a free build. So they kind of built their character from the ground up in a more traditional sense, where you're kind of angling towards an end run goal. But here in this game, we're going to start off at the end. So let's kind of go around the group. We have a option here with associations to choose the kind of the line of work that we're in. And the way this system breaks it down, you have different things from private clubs to households that do great adventuring. You can be part of the Metropolitan Police. You can be in secret societies, that sort of thing. But for us, one option that we can do is we can actually do a created association. So we've started off with what's called the Torchbearers Society. And we're going to actually take time, and we may record that, or it may just kind of come out in the game. That might be actually a little bit more fun. But we're going to take some time to do a collaborative creation of an association. So who here, and I'll throw it out to you guys if you don't want to, that's fine. I could do it myself if you want, but who here wants to kind of talk a little bit about what they feel an association is and how that impacts your character?
Well, the big thing is always to borrow from yet another role-playing game podcast. Fear the Boot has this thing called the group dynamic. It's basically the wider why do your characters care about each other when there isn't an adventure?
Mhm.
It's why do they stick around? Why do they hang out? And an association kind of it sets you up with that.
Yeah.
We hang out because we're all part of the Torchbearer Society.
Right.
It's a built-in answer to those questions.
Right. Very cool. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Just to bring in another podcast, I was listening to Ken and Robin talk about stuff.
Another
And-
great one.
Yeah, and they had a podcast talking about some of these more unusual societies that people would be members of, the Shriners or whatever, or groups where working class men would get together and wear funny hats and call each other names and have kind of odd traditions and that sort of thing. And there was a I thought it was a pretty interesting talk about just the social safety net that those sort of organizations brought, that people weren't necessarily going because they had nothing else to do or just wanted to get out of the house, but that was the place where you went and you could get a good deal on life insurance. And if you broke your leg, there's some people that would come and help drag you to the hospital, or if your house burned down, somebody would come and bring you food and that sort of thing. So fulfilling some of the same structures that like a church would, or just some of the things that are missing in this time, and sort of a social safety net. So when I think about the Torchbearers, I would think, I don't know if we are like a larger organization where there's a lot of that going on, but then there's a smaller group of true believers who, really know what the real purpose of the Torchbearers is, or if this is truly a secret society where we're the only members and no one else even knows that we're around. So I'm really interested in kind of how that fleshes out.
See, I'm looking down right now because I'm taking notes on that, because that's awesome. So I'm gonna
The
type
question is, do we have a secret decoder ring?
We should.
Well, I think we should.
it. Seems if it's a secret society, Michael, we should. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Like decodes arias.
That's right. There you go. That's right. You have to sing in. We talked about that. You have to sing an aria in order to get into the social club.
Yeah.
No,
Kind of
that's
stumps the
perfect.
neighbors, but it's what you gotta do in
It's
secret
what you gotta do.
society, man.
These people next door, they're just singing. They're singing. It looks like a laundromat. I don't know why they're singing at the laundromat. It makes no sense. So,
But in that,
oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, in that same, I think it was the same episode of Ken and Robin talk about stuff, or it might have been in another one, but they also mentioned some of the initiation rituals that these organizations would have. And there was actually a company that specialized in providing props and tools and accoutrement for doing horrible things to the new members. And so
I feel like we should at least decide on one like kind of noodle incident sort of item. If you're if you guys know what I'm referring to, we just have like one thing that we like something completely random that we can casually reference as part of a initiation ritual, and we never explain what the initiation ritual is. It just involves this one random thing.
I love it.
Writing down noodle. Secret
We've all gone through it.
Noodle
We just-
incident.
yeah, no one wants to speak of it in detail.
I think it should be the noodle incident. I'm just
Yeah.
And that's why I don't eat shrimp. Okay. Perfect. No, that's great. Anybody else want to throw in with regards to associations and how that impacts the game?
Yeah.
It's
I
pretty
actually
good.
do have, on a non-noodle note, alliteration. I do think it's like kind of a good idea for us to kind of transcend our social or whatever boundaries. I mean, I know my guy is a little bit of an oddity in how he interacts with different classes.
Okay.
Since he's middle class, but he kind of he meddles professionally with the upper class, and he meddles not so professionally with the lower class.
well,
All
yeah,
right.
that helps too, because as it stands, there are certain races within the game that are locked into certain classes. Like you can't have a lower class elf. However, normally beastmen, which is the overall category which my bearman lives, Beastmen are required to be lower class. There is nothing else for them. They are lower class. However, when we start getting into some of the stuff we've picked up for our characters, I can tell you that I picked what's called a social anomaly, which basically said that even though normally Beastmen don't rise above their station, mine did.
Right.
I had to spend buku points to get that too. So.
Yeah, it's an expensive one to get.
I
I
think
like what you
that
mentioned. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that we do have quite a disparity between the types of characters that we've chosen and the backgrounds.
Yeah.
My character in particular is totally foreign in the way that she looks. So she's actually what would be, in the terms of the day, Eurasian. So one parent is British, one parent is Chinese. She's going to stick out like a sore thumb in British society. So any sort of way to get her involved with a group is going to be something that she's interested in, because she is a foreigner in all senses of the word.
Nice. See, we're even outlining some of the stuff that's going to interconnect us here. That's really cool. Great. No, that's awesome, you guys. Alyssa, that was a good point too, as far as kind of getting your character to step out of the comfort zone. I think, is that kind of what you were getting at? Just want to make sure I understood that. Okay, cool. All right.
Like the group would kind of tie us together,
Yeah, definitely. No, that's kind of that's how associations kind of build into this. It gives you that common goal and that common home, I guess, maybe, for lack of a better term. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Mike?
I was just saying group template, yay.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's always it's the first question I ask anybody who plays a game that I'm running is why do you care about the other people?
Yeah.
And that's
go ahead.
It just, because the game is going to fall apart if all you're doing is we're here to take care of A, B, or C. When A, B, and C are taken care of, why do they care?
Yeah, why would I hang out with you and read a newspaper and smoke a cigar or whatever?
And all it takes really is a second, because when you're talking about group template, I can say right now that my character is going to have a real appreciation for Heather's character, because us foreigners need to stick together.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, that's
an excellent point. And one of the things I enjoy about associations in the game is that it eliminates the whole. It doesn't have to. If you're really great at this with your gaming group and you like the whole, we meet in a tavern or we come across each other in different points in time and we kind of meet everybody at the very beginning of the game. This one, with associations, you can actually kind of have that built in already. And kind of what we're doing during character creation, we're creating that interwoven story that gives us a backstory for everybody and why we're where we're at right now. And I think what will be kind of fun, and we'll see how it plays out in the game, is to have like little vignettes kind of flashing back to like when maybe the two guys met, or how did Heather and Dove, or I'm sorry, Miranda and Dove get together as far as like knowing one another, or how did Monsieur Joyeux, or however you wish to pronounce it, how did he get in here? Yeah, exactly. So I think what's really great about associations is that it kind of lays that foundation, and that's why I believe they went with that first, is to kind of say, okay, why is everybody getting together here? So cool. All right, good. Well, let's jump into the next section here, which is background. And so and I'm kind of reading a little bit off of the script here from the book, so I'll bounce it out of that in a second here. But what it says here is, once you know your association, you'll probably want to know what your adventurer was doing when he or she was recruited. An adventurer's background is very important. Not only does it determine what she's been doing her entire life, but also rounds out the skills she knows as well as her breeding. So we start kind of looking into those things like vocation, which is kind of the job that you have or that you've been trained towards. And then you start getting into other aspects of the life, like breeding and like what kind of social class are you in. So it kind of starts building all that up. So for this one, for backgrounds and vocations, they have kind of pre-made entries that you can use. So we'll jump down to this, kind of an awesome picture there of, you get an example of what a human looks like alongside a beastman. So this is a lion person that I'm showing on the screen here. But the next page there, you start seeing some of the vocations that you could have. Anything from an adventurous or an alienist, so you're you're taking a look at malevolent spirits, an army officer, even a beggar. You know, that can be a listed vocation, but underneath those, you get a set of skills that would most suit your character. And those would be the ones that you should probably buy to support this background that you've developed. Now, again, for the rest of you guys, I'll throw this out there for now for vocations. I know, Mike, you developed one of your own because it wasn't in the book, so I'd like to definitely talk about that. But let's kind of go around the table. I know you guys went from the ground up and moved into a particular vocation you want to go with. Unless you don't want to get too spoilery and you want to keep it to yourselves and you want to make it a secret for later on, that's cool. But let's go around the table, see what people have chosen. Nate, is it okay if we start with you?
Of course.
Cool. So what kind of vocation did you go with?
My character is a military officer. So he's upper class, human, and he comes from a well-established, well-known military family. His grandfather was actually a hero in the Napoleonic Wars, big-time general. And his father actually served in that war as well, but he took it a little bit differently. And in the interceding years between the Napoleonic Wars and today, his father's kind of squandered the family, name and fortune, and has really one of the complications I chose for my guy is sins of the father. So he's kind of inheriting that notoriety and riding the last little bit of goodwill that his name carries with him. So even though he's very talented and he's built towards he's a fighter, a lot of military skills, he still has notoriety, and he's upper class, but he has a hard time interacting with them because they all look down on him.
As you can see, I'm getting my notepad out right now. So this is awesome stuff.
You're basically that guy at the party.
Yeah, exactly. Bad guy.
Oh, there's that guy. Did you hear about him? Yeah, it's a shame. We should really ask him to leave. No, I'm just kidding. All right, cool. Right on. All right, we will move on to the esteemed Dr. Lum. So what kind of vocation did you choose for yourself, sir?
Dr. Lum took physician. And part of what drew me to it was when you go through some of the fluff in the book, there's a lot of the waning magic and kind of the rise of technology and how they use technology to sort of augment their magic,
right.
And or vice versa, use magic to augment their technology. But it referred to physicians as rare and people who are adept in the still young field. And that almost struck me as potentially a third way that maybe could go in this setting. That as magic is kind of falling and technology is rising, there's also this field of biology, which wasn't talked a lot in the book. So I decided to kind of make a character who was fascinated in that, and fascinated with organisms and living things and biology and that sort of thing, and then gave him a middle class background, and so he is actually the son of a butcher, but a fairly prosperous butcher who husband and wife pair who would run a fairly upscale butcher shop, whatever they are.
Butcher shop.
The meat place.
Butchery sounds so barbaric. Butcher shop sounds better.
Yeah. The place where hot dogs are made.
Oh yes.
All right.
And then just made him really, really smart. I mean, as I was kind of going through and fleshing out the mechanics of the character, I just made him as smart as I could get away with a starting character, with his attributes and with his talents.
Right.
And then decided that there was some, for his childhood experience, which is kind of a side-by-side with vocation there,
Right.
Gave him public schools, which public schools in this setting are not like the public schools as we might know. They are very expensive private affairs where mostly the upper class go. But I made this fellow so smart, and through an unlikely series of events that always happen to player characters, he managed to get his way into this school and be the first person of the middle class to attend this school. And then kind of wanted to go a fish out of water sort of thing with him, where he's breaking down these social barriers, and he's in this new field, and he's really, really good at it, and he's showing up some of the upper class folks who go to the school, and so he starts getting kind of persecuted and try to with that background, say, you know, what would this guy be like? And I decided that he would probably be fairly bombastic, fairly arrogant, and very
Well,
willing
this he
to
kind of earned it, don't you think?
That's right.
doing
At least a
what?
little.
Just a little. Yeah, he might be a tad bit outspoken.
Yeah.
A
And I
man
didn't-
with a fine flair for hats.
I'm digging that. And I'm gonna pause you there real quick too, Brent, because you during the time when we've been kind of collaborating on creating a backstory, Brent's been putting together these awesome news clippings
Newspaper
of
articles.
the things that's
They're
been
great.
happening to him as he's getting older. You know, he's coming up in school, and all of these things that are happening to his family. Just incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. So I wanted to tip my own imaginary hat to you, good sir. Some
thank you, sir.
excellent backstory, my friend.
Those were really fun to write. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just as the
Yeah.
final thing, just to make him just as obstinate as possible, I made him into a dwarf.
Oh, I did not know that he was going to be a dwarf. That's a
I
nice
did not know that either.
Yes, if you want a literary character that would describe Dr. Loom, it would be Professor Challenger from the Lost World series
Nice.
by Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yes.
Yep.
Nice.
Would probably be the closest literary thing to how I intend this fellow to be.
Great.
Digging it, man. Totally digging it. Ah, my goodness, I'm having so much fun already, and we haven't even started. Okay. All right, so let's jump over to Heather. If you are ready to go, let's take a look at the kind of vocation and well, the background that you picked. The background that you picked for vocation.
Okay, I'm gonna share part of what's going on with my character, but a lot of it is gonna come out later in game.
That's awesome.
No spoilers.
No spoiler
No, no
territory here.
spoilers.
That's
I'm,
right.
I'm trying to make sure where I can go with this. So my character, Miranda Russell, as I said before, is the child of a British father and a Chinese mother, and was born and raised in Hong Kong. So her experience is going to be very different than the rest of you that are kind of in London or coming in that area. I had to figure out a way to get her from Hong Kong to London and make it make sense. So her background, her vocation is explorer. And I can't give you too many details about that, but I did get our lovely GM to allow me to do a little bit of a change. Normally, a childhood experience of personal tutor is something that's reserved for the upper class. But with her situation, being raised in, father's a British East India trader, and the setting of Hong Kong, that would have been the only education that a wealthy family would have been able to provide. So she had a personal tutor, and that gives her a different perspective on the world, and she has a very British type of education alongside of her Chinese education. And again, her abilities will kind of come out later on, but she is, for all intents and purposes, an explorer and has been many places around the world. Now is in London. It's kind of all I can tell you at this point.
That totally works. So have you developed like a history of how you related with your tutor? Like, is that person a big influence in your life?
Not necessarily. I've delved a bit into the subjects that she would have learned, both from her British tutors and from her Chinese tutors.
Right.
So she's got skills in a variety of different areas. That's more what I've focused on, what she would have learned. The people involved in her life are coming up as some of her contacts, which I'm sure we'll get to later on.
Right.
So there are some from her childhood, and there's some other different things there available that will come up.
Very nice. I like it. Intricate, interesting, and mysterious. Very nice. I like it.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we are heading up on the 40-minute mark here, folks. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, but we'll make sure that we release the next video for this basically concurrent. It's just going to be released at the same time because it's all delving into character creation. So we will be.
Should I,
Well,
should
no,
I go
we're
through
going to
my
be right
stuff?
back, and then we'll continue on right where we left off. So we'll start off
Okay.
with Alyssa next. So thanks for joining in, guys. We will tune in. Well, actually, just click the next video. You're good to go. We'll be right back.